or willfully ignoring. And the main one is Iran is not Iraq, or it's not Libya. It's not isolated. It's a central player in BRICS. 90% of Iran's oil exports go to China. It just signed a defense agreement with Russia in January. It has backup. It has big allies that represent the majority of the world's population and the majority of the world's economy and landmass. So the potential for this to become something much, much bigger and unmanageable is real. It's there. I think the downsides are really kind of overwhelming. The president has said repeatedly, we'll do everything we can to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. I think it's a completely reasonable goal. Nobody wants that.
I actually do believe that a war with Iran will be the collapse of US empire. I actually do believe that. And this is not something I individually believe only, but it's something that journalists like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens believe, that a war with Iran is a very terrible idea. And I do agree with them on this regard, that it's actually a very, very bad idea, and it will be the collapse of US empire. And we have seen now that people who are coming out and saying, you know what, we are not going to do the same mistakes that we have done in Iraq, right? People like Tucker Carlson are the birth of realizing that, you know what, we have done mistakes in Iraq. We do support a war that actually was unjust. Now, are we repeating the same thing in Iran, that somehow Iran has a nuclear weapons, therefore we have to invade them on the interest of a federal nation? Because this is not American war. Let's all be frankly honest. This is not an American war. It is Israel. Israel wants us to invade Iran. This is what Israel wants. Now, there's a very good argument that Iran should never be allowed to have a nuclear weapons. And this is what a lot of politicians, US lawmakers, and even a lot of US former presidents do have, that Iran should never be allowed to have a nuclear weapons. Not just in US, but also in Arab nations such as Saudi, Qatar, all of these Gulf countries do also have the same views as us, that we should not allow Iran to have nuclear weapons. Now, in this regard, we do agree with Israel that Iran having nuclear weapons is a very threat to all of us, because we don't know who will they use it against the people. Like, we don't have any guarantee, right? So this is something that worries us, of course, but I don't support a war with Iran, right? Because this will be the collapse of US empire. So, but I do welcome, in my view, that diplomacy, right? Let's find a way to talk one another, right? Because we already spent 2 to 3 billion in Syria alone. So just this month, US sent 12 billions, right? Trump sent 12 billions to Israel. So US keeps sending money, but what about the American people, right? Because we need to understand one thing. When Trump ran for office, he promised the American people that I will end the war. That's why he said, I will end the war in Ukraine 24 hours, he said. I will end the war in Ukraine 24 hours. Did he do that? No. The war is still going on, right? But to open another in France, it will be very, very mistake. And it's not something, and I do agree with Tucker Carlson, who actually criticized Trump for supporting air attack in Iran, because US actually attacked Iran when it comes to with the nuclear sites of Iran, right?